Hi everyone, welcome to today's training. Today's training is on getting out of debt. And before I start, I will be your instructor today. My name is Fije Roslyn Adam. And if you're wondering what qualifies me to teach on this topic, I will tell you. So I studied accounting in my first degree. I went ahead to get an MBA in international business for my second degree. This cost my family an arm because I was studying as an international student in London. So if you're earning Naira, because I was living in Nigeria at the time, and spending pounds for education, it does cost quite a lot. However, after this, I worked as a financial in the finance industry for a bit, in pension industry. Then I went ahead to work as a financial advisor for 7 years, going from a South African to a UK London company. So yeah, I've been in the finance field for a while at this time. But guys, none of these really prepared me for the realities of personal finance management. Because mostly what I got was, how to invest, definitely. I knew I was really exposed to the finance industry, right? But when it came to personal finance, not a lot. Managing personal finance, nah, none of this got me ready. I could live the lifestyle, there are demands on you when you're a professional like that, you're spending good money to look the part, and I wasn't prepared. But I'll tell you what got me there. It was my journey to financial freedom, my personal journey, you know, where I decided I needed to take control of my finance. I needed to ensure I was making the right decisions for myself. From there, I decided to get certified as a financial educator, and today I'm a licensed financial professional. And my core assignment currently is equipping families with the knowledge and education they need, to be their own personal financial advisors. So that even if you're speaking to a professional, you're at least armed enough, right? To know certain things that will help you make the right decisions, not just buy a product that somebody's recommending to you. You know what? I tell my clients all the time that there are two things that are needed to succeed in the financial markets and the current financial conditions. One, a lot of cash. You need to have money to play around with. Maybe you're lucky to inherit or have a good job that pays you a seven-figure income, so you have an extra five, figure income to invest, or knowledge. The first is not as easy to come by, which is the cash, right, as the second. And I say this because in today's world, there's so much abundant information available online, in-person trainings happening here and there, right? But the thing is, you need to be ready to learn, okay? And I promise you that even though it's not as easy, right? It's as difficult as money. It is almost as powerful, if not more powerful, than having the cash. Because there are people that have had cash and lost it. They've had money and lost it. But if you have knowledge, the right knowledge now, and you use it, nobody can take that away from you. you can, you'll be able to duplicate your successes on repeat. Correct? Yeah. So let's get ourselves some knowledge today and do some damage to our ignorance. So, guys, we all know rather how common debt is today. Before I go ahead, I want to confirm when you registered for this course, you should have received an ebook and a worksheet in the mail. If you have not yet done that, gotten those things, please go to our website www.immigrantstrive.com, www.immigrantstrive.com. Register and you will get access to those materials. An ebook and a worksheet. An ebook because I want you to have something to read in detail over time. And a worksheet because I want you to be able to practice, to put things we are doing, saying now, into practice. So that at the end you can come out with a tangible result to ensure our time together is not wasted. So, guys, my question to you today is, do you feel like you're swimming in debt? I mean, does the burden seem too huge that you think there's nothing you can do about it? Are you giving up on your debt situation? Here's what I have to say to you. No matter how long you have been having challenges with money and debt, or how tough your situation is, I promise you, you can free yourself. You can be debt free, you too. And when I talk about debt, I've heard people with scary stories. I remember watching an interview where Ramit Sethi had with a couple, and together, I think mostly from the man, he was in debt to a tune of over 100,000, and it all started from student loan debt. Like you begin to wonder, where do I start from? Where do I go from here? And I think what made his compounded his own situation was that the interest that was growing, the debt, interest on the debt was growing faster than he could pay up. Can you imagine how scary that is when you go to bed thinking the weight on your shoulder? Guys, me, I believe debt is a killer. I think it's the number one danger to health that has not really been dealt with. Do you realize how things creep on people, right? Because these days, almost everyone has debt. So owing money seems like an inevitable part of adulthood. Oh, yeah. And people can easily discuss, oh, how much is your debt? How much is mine? Oh, this is it. But do you realize that our grandparents didn't have a lot of debt like we do? In fact, for some of them, they never owed anything except maybe mortgage on the house they lived in. So how is it that suddenly debt now feels unavoidable? Do you realize that I know I'm asking yourself, do you realize? And I'll keep asking because these are things I've thought of, and I'm wondering, is it just me thinking it? Are people in our generation really putting thoughts into this? See, one of the reasons why debt is so commonplace is because it is now incredibly common to be in debt. Many of us don't even pay much attention to it anymore because it has become such a part of our lives. So we now group it into, how you pay up you pay your credit card bills, um, just as you pay an electricity bill, right? Pay your right for your transportation is like, oh, one of those things. We've incorporated it, we've made room for debt in our lives. That's what I'm trying to say. So banks call people every day, especially if you maybe working on your credit and it's going up, or you're new to the credit thing. They're calling you every day. They're telling you, making promises to you how they'll help you fulfill your financial dreams, right? Like they are the good guys. They just help you to say if you have any dream, a bigger house, a brand new car, whatever those dreams are, right? We can help you fulfill those dreams right away, right now. We can do it. I know what they promise you. All you have to do to get the money is sign a little paper, just a sheet of paper right here, and then your dreams are a reality. You can just don't worry about it. You can pay us later. So no matter how huge, if you're buying a 2021 brand new Mercedes, just down $4,000, $5,000. You're good. We'll handle it. Just sign this and go home with a load of debt on your shoulders. Finance companies are busy running advertisements claiming that you can have this new toy or you can have the new shiny gadget. Don't worry, just come pick up an iPhone 12. It's just $65 a month. And you can do it right now with no money down. Have you seen those ones? Zero down payment. So exciting. You don't have to make any commitment now. We are encouraged to want everything and demand it immediately. You know what they're selling? They are selling indiscipline. They are selling the opposite of personal financial management. They are saying to you, don't worry about it. Just go ahead. Get it. You want it, get it. You want it, even if you don't want it, you just get it because it's available. So just by signing your name, you can get a top-notch computer, a home remodeled, you can get a brand new car. And if you don't buy these things, you may feel like you haven't made as much of your life as your neighbor or your friend. Do you see how we are in the bad habit of comparing ourselves with other people? You need to stop it because a lot of those people, you don't know, they may be looking fly, looking good, always on Instagram, posting here, or just, you're just your neighbor, so, oh, you look at them so long, but you don't know the weight of debt on their shoulders. It's no wonder that many of us consider credit cards and loans as normal and even necessary. Why? Because we are keeping up with the Joneses. I tell you guys, keeping up with the Joneses has never been so expensive. If you're still living in that world, it's time to leave. Because you're not really fulfilling your dreams. Or you maybe look like you're fulfilling it now, but you know what's coming behind? It's the pinch of death trap. It's just waiting for you. No escaping it. If you have your worksheet, you would see a part where we talk about the compulsive spending test. I want us to spend a couple of minutes and just discuss it here. So, in a society where debt is normal, how can you tell if you're having financial issues? I mean, how do you know when to start being careful with your money so any debt you do have doesn't become overwhelming? It was Construction Digest, the quote I put up earlier. It says, if you had your life to live again, you'd need more money. So, yeah, definitely more money. More never ends, right? But how do we deal with this? I call this the compulsive spending test, and I want you to ask yourself these four questions. People say they are too quick, cannot lie to yourself and the doctor. This is the most important. You can't lie to yourself. So ask yourself, do I have a tendency to spend more than I earn? And I'm not talking of the one or two occasions in a year when you kind of have to go overboard because if there's a family challenge, you have to help out someone else, whatever it is, or a health challenge. Do you consistently make it a habit to spend more than you earn? Now, the next question is, can I personalize it? Can I afford my regular daily purchases without borrowing money, without dipping into my credit card? Can I really afford it? Question number three, am I able to make my monthly payments without difficulty and perhaps pay a little more each time? Because you see the bank, the credit card company saying, no, this is the maximum, minimum basic you need to pay. They don't tell you the implication of the interest on what you've not paid. Are you able to is it difficult for you to make your monthly payments? And maybe adding a little on each time. That's what I always advise. First question, do I have savings I could use to sustain myself for 3 to 6 months if I lost my job today? If you're out of earnings today, God forbid your health is affected, do you have 3 to 6 months of your spending? I'm not talking of your income now, but your regular spending. Since the pandemic, we reviewed that figure up to 6 to 9 months. And don't let that intimidate you. All you need to do is to start in bits. I will do another training such as this on saving, how to build an emergency fund, how to start from nothing, and what to do if you have no savings at all. Guys, these questions might seem a little bleak, but if you answer them honestly, you'll be able to quickly assess your financial situation. I mean, what's more, if you do these exercises regularly, you'll be able to spot trouble when it's still far off, not when it's too late and you're running helter-skelter from pillar to post. Now, let's talk the journey into financial freedom. The major goal for this webinar is for us to cover effective ways to become debt-free. So we're not just discussing the problem. Our goal is to find ways to become free of debt. And in the process, you will learn tips on staying out of debt. How? By handling your money more successfully. In my two last podcasts ago, 2 episodes ago, I was talking to young people about, the need to manage your money yourself, to take control of your finances, and that doesn't apply to only young people. What we'll be doing is, in this process, you will realize rather that it requires dedication and a bit of time, which is important. I mean, you exchange time for good health, for freedom from debts. I don't think that's a bad plan. But the truth is, if you really commit to being in control of your money, instead of letting it control you, you'll be able to enjoy the liberation of being debt-free for life before you know it. How does it mean for money to control you? You know how, if you don't have money in your account, right, you're just cool, you're chilling, you're calm, you're not stressed. But the moment you have that extra $1,000 sitting in your current account, you pass this, you see this, oh, I needed this, oh, the children needed this, oh, I could do with that. That's money being in control. And that's why it's popularly said that money is a bad master, but an awesome servant. You send that money on errands. Don't let it be in control of your life. So let's consider using some of the following strategies, right, to help you get a handle on your debt and break free from its limitations. Somebody say amen to that. First strategy I would recommend is debt consolidation. And the simple definition of debt consolidation is the ability to aggregate your debt. As the name already suggests, debt consolidation will allow you to aggregate all your debts, put your debts together. With this method, you're able to take out one larger loan and pay all the other small balances with the larger loan. So you know your debt is centralized basically. Of course, you still end up with a loan that you have to pay off, right? But in many cases, the interest rates on consolidated loans, consolidation of loans, are lower than your credit card interest rates. This means you not only have just one loan to worry about, you also need to pay back less over time. So it doesn't just save you the stress of, being a scatterbrain debtor, but it can also save you on interest loan, on the amount of interest loans you pay over time. I think this is something that is helpful, right? Before we go into, I want to share a few things you need to know before looking for a debt consolidator. Um, First of all, a debt consolidator knows that if you are taking a loan to consolidate your debt, you've most likely been unable to make a few installment payments already. And this could mean that your credit score has gone down, so you are less eligible for low interest loans. Because for most people, and that's why I say you should know your options are available before there's trouble, before it gets really bad, before you defaulted so much on your loan that your credit has dropped. You can proactively use these methods. But if you're using a debt consolidator, they already know, they understand that you probably have bad credit. Why? Because you missed some payments, and that will mean you're not really qualified for the low interest loans. That's why getting a grasp on these issues ahead of time. So don't say, "Oh, I'm not in debt. This doesn't concern me." It's good to know it so that you can see the warning signs and be prepared. Because the better your credit is, the lower your interest rates. The lower the interest rates you can assess. So the debt consultants will promise you that your interest rate will be lower, and which will lower your monthly payments. Also, they will assure you that they will do all of the paperwork for you. But note that none of this is free. The consultant will always charge a fee. And the truth is, a consultant's fee will vary from company to company, but it's usually between 10% of your monthly payment. For instance, if your loan is consolidated and you have to pay $350 a month, the fee will be about $35 a month. And after the consolidation agency receives the payments, they pass it on to the creditor, and they get anywhere between 10 to 15% back. Why? Because the creditor will usually reduce the amount of debt that the consolidator has to pay. So the creditor has a deal with them. Like, the thing is, they're offering two services. They're offering a service to you to consolidate your debt, give you some peace and organization with dealing with debt, and also negotiating for a reduced rate. They're also offering a service to the company, your creditor, because they are helping ensure that things are not written off as bad debt, right? So yeah, the consultants are paying too. So before you get a consultation, just be aware of this. Okay, don't be in the dark. Next, let's look at some tips that you need to consider when considering debt consolidation. Some things you need to know. The first thing I say to people, especially when it comes to insurance, any financial transaction really, what insurance is top of my mind when I think of this. Read the fine print. You need to ensure that you've thoroughly looked into hidden fees, costs, processes, and anything else before you sign one jot of paper. Take your time. Tell them you need to take it back, give your accountant. You need to show your financial advisor. You need to show whatever it is. Take your time. Secondly, research the company. Check out the Better Business Bureau to see what people are saying about the consolidation agencies, because not all agencies are reputable. None of them are created equal. and you don't want to get bond on top of being in debt. That's double jeopardy. I have been a victim of this, doing business transactions with companies I didn't research, and they've cost me quite a few bucks before I learned. So I hope you are learning early enough. The second thing I'll say is this: find out what your interest rate will be. Okay. If the consolidator takes over your debt, what will be the new interest rate? And then compare it with the average of what you had before. Excuse me. You need to ask if your interest rate stays static for the duration of your business with the agency, because sometimes changes that are out of your control can change your interest rates on some consolidation loans. Also find out if you have missed or late payments. Will this cause interest rates to skyrocket? Because sometimes the construction companies will promise really low interest rates for the first few months, only to increase them later on. So, knowing your expected interest rates for the duration of the contract will save you trouble, will save you worry, will save you quarrels with the company, and unforeseen circumstances. Now let's get to the second way to handle debt. My second recommendation is refinancing. Another a great way to quickly take care of your small debt is refinancing. Do you know that you can refinance many things? You can refinance a car, furniture, or anything that's valuable, any valuable thing you own. However, the most common form of refinancing is refinancing your mortgage. And this is where you pay off your current mortgage loan and take a new one. Often, the goal is to have lower interest rates as your home gains value over the years. So, guys, if you decide to refinance your mortgage and you get a good interest rate, you have money to quickly and easily take care of your credit card debts and other small loan debts. As with debt consolidation, you can also pay just one loan instead of many. Okay? Of course, let me not forget this. When considering refinancing, you want to make your decision from an informed perspective. This is for us, has to do with every financial decision. You should fully understand your financial situation before you make a big decision like extending or changing your mortgage. Reason being that if you step into such a long-term commitment, it's messy, it gets difficult to change things, right? So a few couple of things I don't know if I mentioned this already, but a refinanced mortgage occurs when your current mortgage loan is paid off and you have a new loan. You take on a new loan, often with lower interest rates. Okay, yes, I mentioned this because your home. Sorry about that. Because your home has accrued value over time. Roll debts into your new mortgage or acquire lower mortgage payments, leaving funds for paying off your debts. I think that's basically what you need to know. But I need to also share with you a few things you need to know before considering refinancing. One, small debts like credit card debts are usually not secured. This means that if you can't or don't make your payments, your creditor has no way of forcing you to pay. Even though your credit score will suffer, they won't garnish your wages or repossess your belongings. So they are known as unsecured loans. However, your mortgage loan is secure. So if you're not able to make your payments on time, you might end up losing your home. To avoid this situation, make sure that if you refinance, you're still able to make your monthly payments in a timely fashion. And this requires some planning and thinking ahead. So do that. Don't leave things to chance. Secondly, you need to talk to the right people. You might be a very trusting person. When it comes to finance, there should be no trust. You should only trust the process and what you see on paper. But not everyone, especially in the finance world, has your best interest at heart all the time. Some people, it's their commissions they are working for. Some people, they're working for the company, not for you. So you should be careful. You should be able to talk to the right people. Okay? And that's why I say personal financial education is important, because you can be your financial advisor if you know certain things, right? Now, what else can you do? You need to ensure that your refinancing company understands the market, ensure that they are able to find the lowest rates, best payment schedules, and understand your specific situation. Let it be that they truly want what is best for you, and they can only want that when they understand your situation. Another thing I'll say is consider the ramifications of rolling your debt into your mortgage loan. You know why? Because when you refinance, you may have the option of rolling your current debt into your mortgage loan. You need to know that there are fees related to transferring your debt to the mortgage loan. For example, you have to pay interest on those debts for the duration of the loan. I'll give you an example. Let's say that you have a few $1,000s of credit card debt and you know you can pay it off within 2 or 3 years. Even if your interest is 10 to 15%, you will still end up paying less than the fees involved in getting that debt transferred under your mortgage loan. In other words, unless your other debts are really substantial, you may be better off staying away from including debt in your mortgage, them in your mortgage financing at all. And any good loan company helping you refinance your home will help you understand which option is best for you. It's their job to do that. However, it is important to realize that those companies are not financial or debt advisors. If you need budget assistance, it's better to speak to a financial professional about managing your money. And those are some of the services we render for our clients free of charge for our people in our community at the Immigrants Thrive community. So if you have not registered with us, you've not found out what services we can render, feel free to go to www.immigrantsthrive.com. Immigrants Thrive, the two words together, and see what resources we have available for you. There are tons of free resources. In fact, my staff is saying, let's not put all this out, it's too much. I'm like, put it out, let people use it. Because I understand, especially with the current situation, the pain, the challenge these people are going through. So we do our part, anything we can to ease those challenges. Now, let's talk about cutting down your expenses. This is the third thing. You consider consolidation, refinancing. How about just plain old cutting down your expenses? The very best thing you can do to get out of debt, right, is to reduce your expenses and to realize that your funds for paying, you need more funds for paying off your debt. So living more frugal can enable you to cut years off the time it takes to pay off your debt. It can also afford you thousands of dollars. Okay? Get dollars off your debt payment when you take interest into consideration. Because if you pay earlier, what happens? You're shortchanging the finance company. Or not shortchanging like illegally, but you are saving on the interest you would have paid over time. Now, I want to invite you to try out these ways to cut down on your current expenses. Number one, stay out of restaurants. You see, an average restaurant meal will cost between $10 to $30 per person. But the same meal prepared at home will often cost less than $5. Multiply that out over a year and you can save quite a little some money. I'll give you an example. My son loves Giordano's pizza. He loves. There's nothing else to do. Not even other people pizzas bought out at restaurants will do. But I had to teach him. I said, no, guy, look. For us to get a Giordano's pizza for this family, it's costing between $35 and $37 if they deliver more. you know. But we can get our own pizza at the supermarket, in the grocery stores, right? And get it for $5 to $10, and you get it ready at home. And that's not even starting from scratch. This is just buying pizza and then completing the cooking at home, right? Secondly, you can consider trading down your car, and you can do this for one with a lower payment or no payment at all. If you have a Mercedes 2019, you've been driving for a year, go to the store. If you have debt, there's no need putting in a Mercedes Benz. Go back to the car company. Oh, I have a 2019 Mercedes, great condition. However, I need some cash. So, can you give me a 2012 Mercedes, clean, healthy, something that won't give me trouble, and I'll take the difference in cash. This is a great way to do it, and that's why I said keeping up with Joneses is very expensive. Because if you have friends that are driving the same car, like, wow, what happened to your car, girl? It may not be very nice, but it's good to explain. Oh, I'm trying to kick the butt of my debt right now. And so to do that, I need to step down on this car. You can get a nicer one when you're out of debt and have some money saved. That $200 to $300 will go a long way towards paying off your debt. So it's a temporary fixed situation that will go a long way to help you. Another thing you can do is instead of grabbing coffee on your way, drink coffee at work. Make it specialty. Make specialty coffee a treat instead of a daily occurrence. Let's not be that every day as I pass here I do it. Make it a treat for yourself. Maybe when you've met it's a target, you've done something special to celebrate. What else can we do? Make one night a week meatless for your family. If you're like me and one of the highest costs you run is protein, because my house would love roasted goat meat, and during the pandemic it went from $4.99 per pound to I think $7.99. Yeah, it doubled the price, almost doubled the price. Whatever is the most expensive on your grocery list, make one day a week. Go without it. I mean, for a family of four, you can save $5 to $10 a week doing this. And over a year, you could have saved more than $500. So yeah, depending on your expenses, look for where you can cut out things once in a while. Next, set a budget for birthdays, holidays, special occasions, and you know what? Stick to that budget. It's one thing to set budgets, another thing to stick to it, right? Agree with your family on a truly reasonable amount. Because many people go into debt every December and they don't get it paid off for months or even years. Don't do that. Set parameters that will guide you, guide your decisions, make life easier for you and your family. Another thing you can do is slash grocery cost bills, slash your cost of grocery. In any household, food is a huge part of the budget. And if you become more conservative about how you shop for food, you'll see your monthly expenses plummeting. Be more conscious, do it consciously. The first tip I'll give is the saying that more costs less. So if you buy a wholesale case of 30 can of corn, for instance, you'll pay less per can than you would if you just bought 3 cans. So buying in bulk is almost always cheaper. You notice almost always. So you can do this with flour, rice, beans, canned goods, and many other things. If you buy the right type of food, it will last for months or even years. I mean, check out wholesale to the public stores like Costco and Sam's Club. Sometimes these kinds of places even offer coupons to their members. I mean, especially members who can then already get discounted groceries for even cheaper for the next purchase. Next, buy the no-name brands. When you go to Walmart, you see this so much. We all know that the food advertised on TV is generally more expensive, right? Because they have to cover the cost of advertising. But there's usually a store brand or generic alternative for pretty much anything you want. So you need to start researching that and doing that too. Next tip is this: buy only what you need. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves here. People don't need peanut butter cookies to survive. People don't need soda pop to live. I mean, and we definitely don't need potato chips. We do want these foods because they are tasty and they've been heavily advertised to us, but you don't have to succumb to advertising. I mean, remember, buying things you don't need is possibly what got you into debt in the first place. So in this situation, you can educate yourself on what exactly you want to buy to meet your needs. Sometimes deprivation is necessary, but thoughtful purchasing requires that you can strike out some certain things from your list. So what do? Make a list in advance. Making a list may be easy. The question is, can you stick to it? So one of the tips I found very interesting is the fact when I was doing my research is they say don't avoid shopping when you're hungry, because your hunger will tempt you to buy all kinds of things that are not even on your list. And do you know that big stores have a way of tempting you into buying things only because they look nice or are cheap? So if you have a list, you don't get distracted. You save money. You also save time. Especially those things that they put at checkout, right, when you're standing beside it. And if you happen to go with your children, oh, mom, can I have that? Can I have that? Sometimes we are that children. We also stretch out. Awesome. So I believe we have this more detail on the worksheet. But if for some reason you're in a situation where you have been stretched for your dollar as far as you can get, still you're coming up short. So what if you barely make enough to cover the necessities? What if you're already trimmed back on expenses, and in this case, you have nothing to fall back on? Well, There are government aid programs that can sometimes help you with food, utilities, housing expenses to free up some money to pay off the debt. And if you'd like the government to help with your bills, you are going to have to fulfill certain conditions. You know, the government has no free gifts, right? The criteria you need to meet will vary depending on the type of assistance you're seeking. I'm going to focus a little more on the United States for this because if I decide to research it country by country, it was going to take too much space. But you need to do the research. And what I found out here is if you need help with electricity bill, you first need to be a registered resident of the state where you're applying. Then your home income level has to be lower than what's specified by the government. If you meet these qualifications, you probably get it. Yeah, so because there are many attempts each year to abuse the system, each applicant now has to go through applicable agency specific screening processes. So apart from helping you to pay electricity bills, the government can also help you with rent, food, and other expenses. But the main thing is that if you need help financially, you want to find out who can help you, what they can do for you, and for that it's best to do some research. You may also need to consider going to various churches in your community. Churches are there to help, guys. And if you really need help, they won't let you go hungry. On the next page, I'll share with you a few resources online that can help you in your research. You can do a screen grab here. The US government site will help you apply for aids and grants. It's called www.benefits.gov. Then there's one that deals with food stamps. There's one that helps those working but who are not missing out. There's one that helps pay bills. Then there are religious organizations. You can find at www.ldsids.com. Yeah, that is that for this. Like I said, do a screen grab and go do your research. I'm hoping to round off now. I was hoping this lesson won't take for like 30 minutes, but I think we've gone overboard already. The other thing you can do is bring in extra cash to pay off debt. Excuse me. In this chapter, we'll talk about some quick ways to come up with money. Some of these may seem like they don't make a small dent in your debt, but every penny counts, guys. And one of the first things you can do is try getting a second job. You may have to work hard for a while, but a second income will really whittle down your debt. And there's nothing more rewarding than being able to take care of your own needs effectively. Even if you have to work double time, and although you might not want to consider it two jobs over the long term, 6 months of a second job will generate a lot of income. If it's honest work, even if it's hard and not very well paid, you'll be pleased with yourself for putting forth the effort, right? What else can you do? You can also provide a service for a fee. Become a virtual assistant, go online. If you have the skill of using Canva, do that. If you don't, learn to use Canva. There are tutorials everywhere. YouTube is a gem right now. And that reminds me, you should go to our YouTube channel to subscribe. It's at Fiji Roslyn Adum. And make sure you're seeing recent videos on the one you subscribe to. Okay? Because each time I open the Google account, they give me a YouTube account. So I have more than one YouTube account. But look at it for the one with recent videos. Next thing you can do from providing a service is have a garage sale. That'll help you make extra money. If the garage sale seems to be taking, well, not going as well as you anticipated, what else can you do? Sell some items on eBay. As I speak to you now, the table I sit under, I have my children's shoes they've outgrown. Quality shoes that I bought and they barely used for a few months and their feet got too big, especially with the pandemic and not going out at all. There are things you can do, guys. There are tons of things you can do. Let me share a few with you. Quick extra income generators. Provide services. Consider performing services to make extra money to become debt free. One thing you can do is babysit. There's usually a need for a good babysitter in almost any community. So if you have been even just a little experience with children and price your time reasonably, you'll find plenty of work. How about cleaning houses? People in the workforce often put in long hours. Many of them are willing to pay someone to ensure they can get home to a clean house. So when they get time to rest, they do it. Yeah, let's talk about mowing lawns because they're so close to and gardens, right? To what happened here. Although you may remember that doing this for money is as a teenager, it's not just for teenagers alone, okay? Much like cleaning houses, this is a service often purchased by working people who appreciate the efficiency and detail orientation an adult can bring to the task. So, working outside, you get to enjoy the nature and all the perks that might not be available at a 9 to 5 job, right? Now, those are things to consider. How about delivering pizza? Pizza delivery, that's often get tips up to $5. Consider that. How about waiting tables? I mean, perhaps you did this in college. I mean, so you're probably still going to have some of the skills you did, right? You used before now. These are just things you should consider, in my opinion. Remember, a small change can go a long way if you really want to see some progress towards getting rid of debt. So spend a few extra hours a week doing paid work and apply those funds towards reducing your debts. And you'll be amazed at the results you see. Now, if you have a garage sale and make extra income, what things do I have to tell you? Because I've seen garage sales ooh, go quite wrong. Garage sale, garage sale. Garage sales are simple and quick. One of the things you need to avoid is high pricing. The pricing needs to be attractive. Be prepared to haggle, but know your limits. Don't push it. Excuse me. Now, what else can you do? Sell some items on eBay. If you can't have a garage sale or you have items that won't fetch appropriate prices in the garage sale venue, try setting up a free account at ebay.com. eBay will let you first list your items for the free, and chances are you reach a, a, a lot of potential buyers. Yeah. Because eBay is already a huge platform that's been doing business for decades. As you probably remember, we've mentioned previously that you should sell things that you know you won't be using any longer. But if you need money quickly, it might be a good idea to sell even some non-essential items you use infrequently. So let's say you don't have a ton of stuff that you don't use at all again. Why don't you find things to do? Maybe you have 4 boats. Go sell one, guy. I mean, after all, most of these things you do around the house can be accomplished using your hand and a few simple tools. So if you're really um in need of quick cash, maybe you could select for sale a few of the luxury items you have around you. And guys, regardless of what you're selling, eBay is a great place to earn cash by getting rid of pretty much anything. Now, the final frontier. If you're like most people, you spend most of your young years learning how to control various aspects of your life. When you're little, you practice moving your body in productive ways. As you grow, you learn to manage your emotions and to cultivate relationships. In adulthood, one worked on skills you'd like a better to have. Um, if you worked using skills you like people around you to have. And one of the things I do with my children now is I teach them skills. Sorry, I didn't change that quickly. And I love, love, love this quote by Somerset. He says, money is like a sixth sense, without which you cannot make a complete use of the other five. So, in adulthood, like I was saying, whatever the skill set you learn, it is crucial. I mean, all these crucial life skills, they are worthy to be focused on, yet none of them that you've mastered can take the place of mastering how to manage your finances. So you need to ask yourself, need to spend more time learning to manage my finances? I would say a big yes to that because we never know enough, right? And we're always learning new tricks, new tips to help us move forward and closer to our financial journeys. Now, financial bondage. When your debts are finally paid off and you have a few months' expenses in the bank, you can cut off all your credit cards. This will keep you from spending less than you make. This will help you rather spend less than you make. And it's a crucial money tool management skill. If you do this, not only will you never see debt again, but you'll never watch your savings grow. Our grandparents knew that they needed a wider range of net. They needed a safety net, right, for possible future financial shortfalls. And we all need that security too. So consider the following. Emergencies happen. You never know when the car might break down or when a family member may need medical attention. But if you have money set aside just for this purpose, you can sleep easy, rest easy, knowing that you'll be taken care of. Freedom from debt can also protect your health, guys. Spending less than you make will require self-discipline, some practice, but it will be more than worth it. Because you'll not only be free of debt, you also have less stress. Because with no debt, also, finally, rather, with no debt, you have more options. When you are no longer in arrears, you can select any job that supports your chosen lifestyle. Careers that once seemed closed to you may even open up. Or you can quit your job and travel the world, working as you go. So, as you tackle your debt, keep in mind the four important questions mentioned in the introduction to this book. Those questions will help you stay out of debt, and they also make it possible to manage your financial situation well. So this is a skill you must what? You must learn. Guys, living debt-free is incredibly empowering. Use the tips and the techniques I've reported and start getting out of debt today. And I tell you guys, tons of people have done it. You too can do it. Benjamin Franklin said, if you will be wealthy, think of saving as well as getting. Living debt-free is incredibly empowering, guys. Try it. You will love it. Thank you for staying with me on this one. If you are not aware, please know that we have other free courses on the site. They'll be coming up soon in case you are at the point where this, because it was, I think, the second course we uploaded. The first one is just a text course. This I decided to do video because people have been asking that they wanted it to be more engaging. We'll also be putting up more in the coming years. Go to www.immigrantsthrive.com, our resources page. Join the team so that we have put out new resources, you are aware, you are informed. Okay. Thank you, guys. This is where I sign out, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side of debt freedom. Until next time, take care. Have a good one. Bye bye.